doing the show.
This week on Positively Godless, imagine if this show never existed, or stopped existing, or continued. Who knows what's going to happen? Just imagine.
I am imagining right now.
Can we get a funny intro? That was lame.
Crazy! Over, under, feeling crazy! It was no wonder, you're just making me crazy! Everybody, welcome to Positively Godless, episode number 13. We're teenagers now! Yay!
Hi, Gavin. We're a teenager, too.
Wait a minute, Gavin's not a teenager yet.
How would you? He's not
Damn
your
it.
kid.
I just said...
Hi, Gavin. Gavin, we're going to learn this weekend what see you next Tuesday means.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's a week from today.
And it's Tuesday today. We're recording early.
Yes.
I am joined by one of you. My name is Scott. Never mind. Screw it. I'm starting over. That was dumb.
No, you can't.
No.
You can't start over.
Yes, I can.
No, he just wants to start over so he could say hi to Gavin first.
No, that's not what I meant to do because I didn't.
I'm just Jerry. He's Scott Lawrence and Tyler Sulander. Everybody knows our names by now.
Hey, guys.
Besides, they're on the bottom of the screen.
Well, except for those people that are...
Jerry just stole my intro because I stole his 6 weeks ago.
Perfect.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Positively Godless. I'm one of your three co-hosts, Scott Lawrence, joined by Just Jerry and Tyler Sulander. How are you guys? Good?
Yeah, hi, Gavin.
Good, we're leaving... Yeah, we're leaving both intros in, so now you're the one that's going to look really dumb.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Positively Godless. I'm one of your three co-hosts, Scott Lawrence, joined by
Are we
Just
in
Jerry,
hell?
Tyler Sulander, and hi, Gavin.
I think we're back in
Finally.
hell. I think we're
Got
back in hell.
You're back
Yeah.
from last week.
Oh,
Last week was fun. Hi, Jerry.
That's not what you were saying after the episode was done.
We all say every week, we say that was the worst episode. If people could see what happens after we record and like really see like everything, not just like the funny stuff. But we always after what was it, episode 8, after Paul's recap, right?
Yeah.
Then episode 8, we said, "Oh, that's the worst episode."
Right.
Episode 9, we were like, "Oh, that's even worse than episode 8." Episode 10 was G-Man. 11 was the recap. We're like, "Oh, this crap is crap," and then
It just gets funnier.
to us anyway. I don't know
Right.
if anybody else thinks it's funny.
Well, we had some good comments from a couple episodes. Euphoria is a big fan. I love what I really love about her, she kind of engages with our conversation. Like, gosh, I totally relate with Tolerance, and she wrote that really cool long review. I thought it was great,
On Facebook, yeah.
on Facebook. So kudos to you, Euphoria, or whatever you want to be called.
Don't say her name.
Euphoria.
Tyler, can you bleep that out for us, please?
What? Oh, what am I bleeping out?
Said his for the second time.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, everybody,
Scott.
welcome to Positively Godless. I'm one of your three co-hosts.
What are you doing?
It's my show. We haven't even got on the topic yet. Nobody knows what it is. Wait, no, they actually do because I announced it at the end. That's right. I've never done this.
We know what it is, but
Yeah,
they don't know what it is.
I know. We're gonna be talking about prayer today.
What?
No, I'm kidding. Let's go back to the reviews before we get on the topic real quick.
Yeah, let's go to Headcase first.
Love him.
Oh yeah.
Except for the long drawn out email I gave him today.
Oh, I hope it
Him and
was
I went
good.
him and I went back and forth and laughed about stuff, and I let a cat out of the bag that only certain fans are privy to.
Oh, that cat. Okay. Also, when's
Rhymes with cat.
Headcase? Oh, wow.
What did you say?
When's Headcase gonna be on the show?
Headcase.
When are you coming on?
Headcase has got. Are you looking on Facebook? Is what you're looking at?
No, I'm looking at the YouTube comments.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's some computer issues and
Yeah, he's got to get. He lives by a train track and stuff like that, and he's got to get a webcam. And so him and I kind of went back and forth on some emails. So, but yeah, he wants to be on. He definitely wants to be on, and I definitely want him on.
Yeah.
As another perspective, but we're going to be getting a female perspective on in a couple of weeks.
hey, what? I don't count.
We're getting a female on in a couple of weeks. This person, I know her from a Facebook group called Godless and Proud, and she's one of the admins, and just very, very cool girl. So we're going to kind of do some recaps of previous episodes and do a little interview and find out what she's like. And go ahead, Jerry.
I love how she wrote to us and said that she wanted to go on and check us out for a little bit, and she said what was it? Effectively wasted 5 hours watching our show.
Emailed her
and
back.
Loved every minute of it.
I got all scared, like going wasted, because I emailed her back like you said wasted. I had to like read it twice. But no, very, very cool girl.
That was funny.
So we get a different perspective.
I decided to look up the videos on YouTube and proceeded to waste a good 5 straight hours last night watching. I love what you guys are doing, especially the emphasis on being positively godless, as this is something very important to me as well.
Most of us, at least, have that emphasis.
I do.
No, I mean, he does. He is not negative unless he's talking to
be right. Yeah, it's always to us. To be fair, there have been occasions where Scott has actually been more positive than I have, especially when it comes to final thoughts. But anyway, I want to go back to Headcase here real quick. His comment from our last episode regarding hell. I have always been told that God is love and just. If that's true, then he would not torture people forever. I was raised, quote-unquote, non-denominational, aka Pentecostal. Hell was explained to us as a lake of fire where you burn forever. Your skin bubbles and boils all the time, but you never burn up. And here's my favorite part. It's like a Wolverine thing, I guess. So, for those, okay, that just went over Scott's head completely.
No, I have a different issue right now.
Oh, what is your different issue?
How did that happen?
I was cleaning my glasses. Muffin, I gotta get new glasses.
Headcase, I apologize. I've tried 3 times to do this, and
Sorry.
Scott always gets in the way. Anyway, he had one other thing to offer afterwards. I might add, I don't believe in the afterlife thing. I think it's like Mark Twain said, I was dead for billions of years before I was born, and it did not bother me in the least. I see no reason to think that it'll bother me when I die. Which is funny, because Scott, our good friend, our good mutual friend Tim, and I were recently talking about the show and all of that again, and he's very much like us in the positively godless camp.
I get him on too.
Well, yeah, we definitely should, but it's just funny because this is one of the things that Tim has always said for years as well. The whole, I didn't know when I wasn't alive to begin with, and when I'm dead, I'm not going to realize it anyway. So it's not going to bother me that's what's going to happen. So appreciate the comments as always, Headcase, and yeah, let's get you on. Let's figure out when we can do this. So.
Yeah, and also we are in the process. If we haven't said it before, I don't think we've said it live on the air. Of possibly working on something called Positively Godless Live, which we're all going to kind of figure out how to do it and do a test run of in some way of a Google Hangout.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this.
I clicked on my screen and now Tyler's on the left and Scott's on the right, and usually it's the other way around.
Wow. So anyway, we're working on something called Positively Godless Live. It's going to be through a Google Hangout. So we'll be able to invite people in to talk to us, ask us questions, and stuff like that. Tyler, I've told you this. We've talked about it in the GroupMe. GroupMe is an app. If you want to download it and talk to your friends all at once, you can go to GroupMe on your Android or your Google Play or your iStore. What's the noise back there?
What?
Okay.
Huh?
So anyway,
How else would people reach us, Scott?
No, he's not telling them to reach us
Facebook.
out and group me. That's just our private stuff. He's
Yes.
saying group me for everybody to use.
I
between
know
them and
it
their
was a segue for Scott to be able to go into his spiel.
Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Facebook.com/positively godless, YouTube.com. I'll just wait for whoever's breaking in the background to be
Oh, I
done.
thought that was at your house.
No, I'm in private here. I have my door shut and everything.
What are you, a teenage boy?
I am. Facebook.com/positively godless, YouTube.com/positively godless, Gmail.
You always do that.
Positively godless at gmail.com and p.godless at Twitter.
One of these weeks, just like eventually we'll get the intro to the actual show right. One of these weeks, you're going to get all of this.
I might.
Look at the links below or on the screen or wherever they are.
Talk to us. Bye.
It's still recording.
And then now she comes down and goes, that was awful.
So Scott, I just have one question for you.
Sure.
Before we go start the topic or whatever, have you decided whether or not we're just a universe inside of a little glass case on a cat's neck?
This is very good follow-up from last week's episode. I
gotta pee.
Oh my gosh! He's gonna bring the dog. I promise you. He's gonna bring the dog. What were you gonna say? Or does he need to be here for that? Because are you gonna rip on him?
No, I was just gonna say that is absolutely perfect because it's something that we didn't get answered last week.
I know, right? Now he's like an evangelical.
the
I can't believe I just said that. He's gonna shoot me for saying that.
Oh, it's so true. No, the last I'm gonna be completely honest. The last couple of weeks, I've been very out of it in terms of just life in general. And once it gets time to recording the podcast, it extends into late on a Thursday night. And by the end of last week, I was so ready to cut and wrap the production. I really didn't even care. So,
What, you quitting the show?
yeah.
Oh.
Jerry and I are quitting, and we're starting our own show. It's called Positively Godless.
It's my name. I'll sue you.
No, you won't.
Copyrighted?
Nope, it's ours.
I thought of the name.
This is our program.
All right, Scott. I'm sorry for busting on you. You can.
I'm not. I want an answer.
I don't know. I live in reality.
Okay.
I got two friends who are mean, and I'm the nice one that I could have sworn, but I didn't because I care too much about the show.
Because you didn't already do it 4 times, right?
That's true. That's true.
Uh-huh.
But, Imagine if we didn't even have this type of topic to talk about this week. Imagine if we had something else to talk about.
What a segue.
Just imagine.
I want one of those.
A
What was-
segue?
Yeah, a Segway.
Imagine if we never got off
Stop.
topic.
Those things where you stand on it and you lean forward and it goes forward. The mall cops use them.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's next episode.
So anyway,
Continue, Scott.
you heard me say imagine. I'm going to go on record and I'm going to maybe tick off some musicians as I'm a musician. I'm not a Beatles fan, and I'm sorry. It's just something I never got into. Neither are you.
Some of their songs, but I wouldn't call myself a hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, I'll dig some of those songs. And, John Lennon, gosh, rest his soul, wrote a song.
He was one hell of a writer.
He was a fantastic writer. And
Lyricist.
over the last few weeks, or maybe over a month now, I've been thinking about the song Imagine and kind of how we've kind of talked about topics and stuff like that and how the stuff bothers us with the displays that we see and the protests and vice versa. And I kind of started thinking about the whole song Imagine by John Lennon, which is a fantastic song and in so many ways. And I kind of want to dissect the song and just kind of talk about it, not necessarily line by line, but let's kind of talk about the premise of the song, of how good it is. And it reminds me, I was thinking about this on the way home today, of a devil's advocate question I need to ask you once, when we're in the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. So,
okay, don't forget, because I'll forget to remind you.
Okay, then I'll remind you to remind me. And then if
Okay.
I forget, then if Tyler can remind you to remind me, to remind me, to remind you, that'd be awesome.
Look at Tyler's face.
I'm sorry, I just blacked out for a moment there. What happened?
Rewatch it like 5 times, like Jerry and I do. You'll see it.
Okay.
So like, let's imagine there's no heaven or no hell.
It's easy if you try.
Okay, this is not where I want to go with this, you smartass. I want to actually have a discussion about this.
I think that he just answered it right in the song there.
Jerry, it's funny because you and I are actually babysitting Tyler right now. So can you and I be serious for a second?
I'm in a mood tonight.
Apparently you are.
I mean, go ahead. Ask me your questions. Let me
But like, imagine if there's no heaven or hell.
just
So-
make sure I have the
Lyrics up.
Above us only sky?
you're frozen.
Hopefully forever. Me or him? Him or me? Me? Him. Who's frozen, Jerry?
Jerry.
You were for a second. You were for a second.
Okay, who's you?
Scott, you were for a second, so I
Thank
missed
you.
your question.
Imagine there's no heaven or hell
Okay.
for a second. So what kind of world would we be living in if those two things didn't exist?
Well, I mean, fortunately, I don't have to imagine that there isn't.
But you have people around you who do believe that,
Right.
is kind of where I'm going with.
I don't think that line is really talking to someone like you or me or Tyler, because we already imagine that we already believe that there isn't. So I think those lines are actually talking to the people who do believe that there are a heaven and hell, to just take a step back and imagine that there aren't.
Okay, but again...
Wait, let me hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay, all right.
He wants those people to imagine that there aren't, so that they can see that whether you believe or you don't believe, what's right here and right now is still the same. We're still people living together. We still need to treat each other respectfully, and we still need to look out for each other. And, you know, whatever your famous line, be kind to people, that is still possible whether you believe or you don't believe in heaven and hell. So that's why he's not asking somebody who doesn't believe to imagine that there is. He's asking somebody who does believe that to imagine that there's no heaven or hell.
Okay, but let me take that a step further, though. But,
Right.
okay, imagine there's no heaven and hell. So let's imagine we live in a world where people, and that's everybody, that don't believe in a heaven or hell. What kind of world would that be? That means the Paul Ridgways and the G-Mans and our friends on the theist side.
So you're just saying if there's
It never
nobody
existed.
believes it, nobody
Right.
believes in it.
Right.
I
That's
think
what
it
I'm
would
getting.
still be the same. I mean, it goes back to the episode we did talking about morality. Without believing in heaven and hell, I think that each one of us is generally built with some moral compass, and it's inherent in us. It's like, you know, so we can discern easily what is good behavior and what is bad behavior
Without a heaven or hell.
without having the heaven and hell to necessarily be there to guide us. Okay, if you act good, you're going to go to heaven, but if you act bad, you're going to go to hell. You know, so I think it just goes to that whole morality where you can still be a good person not believing in heaven.
So what you're
and
saying is
hell.
we should imagine all the people living for today.
Yes.
Are you sure you're not available on Thursday, Jerry?
Yes.
Can you be? So we can re-record this whole thing?
No, I mean, because
Because Tyler, I'm the mature. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the mature one today, and Tyler, who's been the mother in the last 12 episodes, has gone off his rocker.
I mean,
I wish I was in a rocker right now.
It's just our shtick, Scott.
It's my shtick. Tyler's the mother. Tyler, what do you got? I mean, final thoughts.
I am honestly not sure how I didn't just spit out my drink there, but
Through your toes.
somehow I managed not to.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Scott, can you rephrase the statement in the form of a question, please?
What are your thoughts? Oh, Lord. I'm sorry in advance, people. Okay. So I'm going to skip the "you may say I'm a dreamer, I'm not the only one. Someday you will join us and the world will be as one."
Why?
You want to talk about it?
No, go ahead.
Like, why? In the final third verse, it talks about possessions and no need for greed or hunger, and the brotherhood of man. And it says, "Imagine all the people sharing all the world." That kind of goes to there's no hunger, there's no people starving. But are there? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but are there homes? Do we have enough homes for all these people in the world? I mean, you guys want to kind of chat about that?
The whole imagine no possessions. that one particular line, I walk around and I think, if this is when we talk about, let's take technology for a moment.
You gotta back up again.
Laptops.
You gotta back up. Yeah, you're cutting out there. Was he cutting out for you, Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say
So
again.
when we talk about the possessions, let's take technology, laptops, tablets, cell phones, all this stuff, right? Why does it always have to be bigger and better? Why does this person have to have more than that person? Why are we on this constant race to acquire more stuff? When we're acquiring stuff, we're not acquiring what really matters, and that's the relationships with people around us, our friends and family. For such a connected world as we are right now with the internet and Facebook and Skype and Instagram and Snapchat and GroupMe and everything that's freaking out there, we're so disconnected from
It goes
everybody.
back. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and it kind of goes back to that line that you've heard the older folks say, like, how do we survive without this? If you go back to maybe when we were younger, Tyler, you're a little bit younger than Jerry and I, but we had worlds where we had payphones, and it was the whole home before the street lights came on and stuff like that. Now it's a matter of, I need my cell phone, I need my laptop. When they first came out, it's like, I want a cell phone. Now it's a necessity. That's that possessions that we're kind of talking about. Are you saying that we would live in a better world without these things? Not necessarily technology. No, no, go on.
No, I think it would be a way better world
Okay,
without it.
I just want to make sure.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have myself, right here. I have my fart
Right.
phone, my smartphone, and I mean, it has all that stuff on it. But I mean, I just sometimes I wish I could just be without it.
There's always that off button.
I mean, yeah, I can turn it off, but oh yeah, maybe if I turned it off, maybe you wouldn't bother me so much.
Why am I getting beat up today? I don't know why.
That's what are you
Oh,
surprised about? That's what
that's
we
our
do all the
shtick.
time.
That's right. Tyler, quiet one.
I love my phone, but I think back to a time when I did not have this, or when I didn't have anything even equivalent to this. And at that point in my life, I wasn't lacking something that I didn't have. I think about it now, and I think it's very hard for people to think about what would life be like now without our quote unquote smart devices, or what would it be like without electricity, or without running water, or without people who knew how to build a hut without rain coming in when it was raining outside. Because we all take every single one of those things for granted.
Mm.
And eventually, there is going to be new stuff that comes along down the road that hasn't even been imagined yet.
Nicely
Get it?
played.
Yeah. And our sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters and so on and so forth are going to then live in a world where they can't imagine living without that stuff, and it's just commonplace. So it's easy for us to go back, and I don't know if it's necessarily being nostalgic or if it's just being remembrant of a time that's past, but we can look back at it with that perspective because we were there. My 7-year-old son cannot look back at a time where if you were on the road and you needed to see if anyone called you, you had to find a phone and call home and check the answering machine. You know, he that is not even a concept that could possibly go through his head at this point. But yet, we all remember when that was commonplace. So I think it's really hard to put yourself in a place where, I mean, really all that we can do is imagine. We can't really speculate about what life would be like, because how far do you go back? If there's a life without possessions, does that mean that everybody has access to what we have currently? Or does that mean that there's a certain point in which we stop developing and maybe we all have our little huts and we all have a garden out back and we all farm and then we all go down to the market and we contribute because Jerry grows potatoes and, Scott is a fruit and then I
think you got it mixed up, don't you?
Wheat and so, but how far do we go back with that? Are we living in a not prehistoric, but let's say even a more medieval age where everybody just shares everything, or are we living in a culture like today where we still have people that farm and we still have people that develop technology and we still have people that are steel workers and we still have people that are CEOs of companies, but yet nobody has a possession and everybody's equal? Because that's capitalism, that's not socialism. So, or communism, I mean, is basically what he's advocating for here. Which I'm not saying that I am for or opposed in either way. I'm just saying that I can understand why a lot of people take issue with it.
Good. That was actually good.
Let's go. Let me elaborate on a little bit what Tyler was talking about. One thing, for example, because Tyler, you said it was, can we just stop developing? And I don't think you were asking or saying, can't we just stop developing? I'm saying, I think what you say, well, where would we be if we did? And I don't think we have to stop developing. I think we have to stop doing it so fast and always looking for the next best thing. Like, how can we take this and make it better? Right? For example, Android Lollipop. Okay?
I got it.
Kit Kat was perfectly fine. And if there were security issues with Kit Kat, fix the security issues. There was no need to overhaul the system. It was only a year old. iPhone 5 was okay. iPhone 5S was the iPhone 5 with the fingerprint scanner. What did they need to make a new iPhone for? I mean, Apple really started it all, to be honest with you. I mean, with all this technology advancing the way it is when it comes to mobile devices and stuff like that, I don't think that we should stop developing. And I can't imagine a world where we do stop developing, especially with technology, because, life is, there's things that are a lot easier with technology. For example, my job right now, we are Yesterday and today and tomorrow, I'm in a training session for this new database system that we have to manage our panelists. Um, and for me to get people in the door is going to be so much easier because I'm going to be doing it all online rather than having to sit on the phone and be like, "Hey, you want to come in?" and calling people. I just don't have enough time to reach that many people in a day. Um, so yes, I think the development is great. Develop safer cars, but give it time to really see what we have and what we can do before we start working on the things that we can't do yet because we don't need to do them. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
at that point, though, if you, as a part of a capitalistic society, it's hard to put yourself in that mindset, though, because you're still going to have the Henry Fords, you're still going to have the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musks, the people that, whether it is for capitalistic greed or for the betterment of society, that are going to see that vision of what the future could be and want to strive for that. You know, let's say that even if we're living in a society where everybody is equal and ultimately they're not going to have any monetary benefit from it, I would think that that would be even more incentive for people to do what they want to do and accelerate the changes and the growth of the culture even faster because there isn't that greedy monetary goal to go along with it. They want to have the betterment of society, and if you were placed with nothing else to do in this world rather than go out to the farm and work a till or work on advancing medicine so that you could eradicate cancer or AIDS or something like that. If you were that type of person that thought that you had the potential to do that, you don't have a monetary goal to work for. Now you have the goal to work for of I could be the person that could eradicate this disease. And to be quite honest, I mean, first of all, to go back to something that you said real quick, Jerry, because Apple did not start this whole technological revolution. And I've got a freaking Apple logo on my t-shirt, and I hate sweatshirt and I hate fanboys as much as the next person. But you could go back to prehistoric times of people advancing things to get further because
right.
why did Henry Ford build a car? Because he wanted to advance it faster than what he could with where he was working at the time. And everybody is always trying to outdo somebody else. And so, yes, things have become very much accelerated over time, but the idea of putting out a new model of phone every year happened way before, when
So
the
you think
idea of...
before iPhone?
What?
Maybe it's just because I didn't start paying attention to it until
No, but
right
I'm
around
talking about
iPhone.
the idea to put out a new model of car every year. The idea to put out a new model of toaster every year. The idea to put a new model of the spinning wheel out. Whatever it might happen to be. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
maybe some of those timetables have accelerated a little bit, but that was something that was already a part of the American capitalist, well, in just a capitalistic societies to begin with, long since before 2007 when the iPhone came out. So again, I'm not in any way trying to stick up for Apple
Right.
in this case, but this has been something that's been going on for a very, very, very long time, and that's
Yeah, if I think about it that way, yeah, I get it. I was thinking more in terms of, you know, before iPhone there was not much else, and now we have,
no, but it was still.
you know,
I remember any time that I would go, because at that point I had Verizon for my service, and I remember any time I would go to the mall and I would look at the Verizon little kiosk that was there. There was always something new. The guy was always wanting to get my information and try and upgrade me to something new. It's been something that's been going on for a very long time. And in the 1960s or whatever, you have a car salesman that's trying to get you to upgrade to the latest model of car. I mean, technology is in a lot of different places. So if we were living in this type of society, it's easy for me to imagine things going either way. Either one, we don't advance at all, or two, we advance at an incredibly high rate because now you don't have any of the normal capitalistic concerns that go along with it. You have the motivation of making your tribe, your state, your country, the world that you live in, whatever it is, however things end up getting divided up. Because ultimately, even if we go back to the previous verse where we have a world that has no countries, there still has to be divisions of something. You can't live in a world that is completely boundaryless. There still has to be a boundary of, again, even if we were under one world government, there's still going to be some sort of states or towns or collectives of people where representation happens, if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. Yeah, I mean, to go back to that, I don't think that we could have, we could govern the whole world. Like I said, if you were president of the whole world or the king of the whole world or whatever you want to call it, nobody would want it because I'm sure there would be somebody that would be trying to kill you
nobody would want it in our current world, or nobody would want it in this ideal world with no religion.
I think definitely in this current world. I don't know why anybody wants to be president of the United States now.
I still think that there would be plenty and plenty of people that would want that out of the greed and fame factor.
Yeah, but if everybody's equal, I mean, there's no greed and fame.
Right, but that's talking about that world. That's not talking about this one.
Right.
And if we're talking about this one, there's still, I mean, every country has a leader. And if you had to take all, what is it, 200 and some countries and have everybody vote on one world leader, I think whoever actually got voted in to do that would gladly take the position. And I think in a world where we wouldn't have to... In a world where there were no countries and boundaries, would we have a world leader even? I mean, that's another question to ask.
That'd be absolute chaos.
To not have a world leader?
Sure.
Why would it?
Who's going to govern? Who's going to...
Why do we need governing? If the world is perfect...
Well, then that's the purge, then. It's
not.
Then there's no rules. There's no accountability for your actions.
No, nobody's saying that there's no rules. All we're saying is that there's no dominating world leader.
Okay, but then who's governing the rules?
An elected body of officials.
And that's a world leader. Those are world leaders in a sense, right?
No, they're not.
What are they then?
They're tribal leaders, or they're state leaders, or they're country leaders, or they're however the divisions...
But they're still leaders.
But not of the world. It's a very different conversation to have than saying, person X is our world leader. For all 7 billion plus people, this one person is our leader. It's very, very different.
Okay. What would you do to make this world a better place?
What would I do to make this world a better place?
Sure. I'll start with
I'd
you.
shoot all the stupid people.
Can you be more specific than that? God, the world would be a better place if you didn't snort so much.
I often think about
Shit, hold on.
what's going on over there.
Let's get out of here. Go on.
Ow, my ears.
Sorry about that. I have to mute. What would you do to make this world a better place?
I often think about what the world would be like if we didn't have all these things, all this technology, all these distractions, if you will, from the core of humanity. I mean, it's like everybody's in a race to get something bigger and better than their neighbor, or get something bigger and better than what they had last year. It's just like I look at it, and I look at, all other things going on, and I say, do the men who wrote the Constitution and founded the United States, if they could see where we have come to, I don't think it's what they envisioned for us as a country. And especially, I mean, in a world, I mean, it's just not what they thought it was going to be.
Sure.
Tyler.
No, that's because they never imagined that black people would be free and that gay men would be marrying each other.
But that's true too, I guess.
I think, quite frankly, it's a much better world than what they envisioned. And, I've always had this particular fascination with the 1960s, and I've said on many occasions that I was always a child born in the wrong era, but I look back at it, and I look at the things that were going on and the things that were happening, and I realized a long time ago that, quite honestly, I was born a little bit too early, not too late.
I was born way early.
It's, the imagine what things will be like in 100 years. Look at what has happened. 50 years ago, it was 1965. There were still places in the South that were segregated, and the civil rights movement was in the midst of going on, and LBJ signing in, the reforms into law and all of that kind of stuff. And here we are 50 years later, and I hope that stuff like that, my sons will look at in the same way that I look at things that happened during the Civil War. Like when I was in elementary and middle and high school, things from the civil rights still seemed pretty fresh. Or at least close enough to that, well, my mom grew up during that time. Mm-hmm. Whereas things from the Civil War were like, oh, that's just ancient history. Even though it's not really that ancient. But I hope that those types of things will be viewed in the same way by my kids, where they'll grow up in a world where they won't have any of those judgments or racial biases or anything like that. That's all I can hope for.
That's all
So
anybody
what would-
can hope for.
So what would you do to make the world a better place, Tyler?
I would outlaw religion.
Okay.
Plain and simple. That'd be it.
Well,
I would take away their constitutional
That's
right.
interesting.
really? God. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's bold.
Positively godless.
Anybody else got any
You
final
know, we'd
thoughts?
have to. We'd have to change a lot of things.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Doesn't that say God in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the Republic which is stand one nation
Under
indivisible.
God,
Yeah.
indivisible.
Which
have
was
to
added
change
in
that.
1950s, yeah. Which was
We'd
added
have to
in the
change that. We'd have to change the money.
What's funny, speaking of money, somebody put a thing up on Facebook where it had a picture of a nickel, and I can't remember. I think it's Andrew Jackson is on the nickel. Is that right? If anyone can correct me if I'm wrong.
Thomas Jefferson.
Jefferson, and it said that they put "In God We Trust" next to it an atheist. I thought that was kind of funny because when Thomas Jefferson, either a deist or an atheist or something like that, or something like that. It was kind of funny.
He just didn't believe in God.
Yeah. So there you go. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking with us this week. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. Awkward ending.
Thank you for watching Positively Godless. Look at the links below or in the screen or wherever they are. And talk to us. Bye. Stupid.
What?
That was awful.
It's still recording. I've been able to replicate that ever.
I was 45.
Oh, that was me. Oh, yeah, that was me watching Lois and Clark: The Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, me too. I was watching that.
You were having orgasms to Dean Cain too?
No. No. I never had any. I know Terry Hatcher didn't do it for me.
Yeah, she didn't.
She
do it
didn't.
for
I
anybody.
just liked it because it was Superman and all the
She
adventures and all that kind of stuff.
She looked better in Desperate Housewives, though.
Well,
She
she turned into a MILF. That's why.
She looked
Yeah,
hot in
she
Tango
did.
and Cash.
Was she in Tango and Cash?
Yeah.
What?
Tango and Cash is a movie that came out in 1989 that starred Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell. Fantastic movie.
Did you see it, Tyler?
I was 5.
No, I don't think so.
Smashing.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Imagine. That's all we can say right now is imagine. Imagine a world of this. Imagine a world with that. How would you imagine your perfect world? We dissect John Lennon this week on Positively Godless.
We don't dissect John Lennon. He's already dead.
This is going to be a weird episode, people.
He said we
Exhume
dissect
John Lennon from grave now.
I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I've apologized so much this episode to my co-host.
He said we dissect John Lennon.
Thank you for sticking with us, and I'm so sorry.